I felt so fucking disappointed when I read that article and saw and saw like that kind of interpretation of the ending, just because like not only is this drama not that good, but then you're falling into the same trope at the very end. Like, are you kidding me? Seriously?
This is MIA2K Podcast, and we are your ticket from Miami to Seoul. We are your pilots, Kathy and Laura, two fun-seeking girls with obsessive fandom tendencies, taking you on a ride through the Hallyu wave from our perspective as opinionated, grown Latina fans from Miami.
Before we close the cabin doors, make sure you're following us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you like to watch, our in-flight podcast video is available on YouTube and Spotify.
Once we reach our cruising altitude, we'll be serving one thing and one thing only, piping hot tea. We're ready to fly into today's topic with our hot and sunny takes.
So fasten your seatbelts, sit back, relax, and prepare for takeoff.
Hi guys! We are so excited for today because we have a friend of the pod here with us today, and it's a extra special episode for our K-drama girlies.
Woot woot. Woot. Kathy sent me a message and she was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we did an episode on Doona with Jess? And bam, here we are. It happened.
Yeah. For those of you that are new, Jess is the host of several podcasts, including Daebak K-Rambles Podcast, where she reviews famous K-dramas and movies and C-dramas and a bunch of other things too, because, you know, she said the limit does not exist.
Yeah.
So, hi, Jess.
Hi,
Hello. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. We're back on a little bit of a rainy day. Rainy episodes are now the norm for us.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
We have a track record of recording through hurricanes, but that's okay.
Yeah.
This is a little mini hurricane or squall that's happening.
That's Florida living for us. It was a normal week, but
Par for the course.
Someone else might have been a little scared with all like the almost flooding that we had this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was gross.
Yes, it was.
So just for our new listeners, or if you can please introduce yourself, share your social media info, and anything else you want to say.
So my name is Jess, and like Kathy said, I am the host of the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast. It started as a blog, now it's a podcast, and I talk about everything from K-dramas to C-dramas to Korean movies, and it's pretty much evolved and it's really robust. Each episode is on one topic, one show, one movie, and we just review it and have a nice conversation about it. You guys have been on for multiple episodes.
Yes, we have.
The Love All Play episode, and of course the Dream High episode, which is really relevant to today.
Oh yeah.
I have so much fun doing it, and if you want to join me over there, it's at Daebak Pod on all the socials. DAEBAKPOD.
Yes, spelling bee. Hell yes, I love that.
It's very 2023.
Yeah, very much that. So yeah, as we mentioned earlier, today's episode is about the Netflix K-drama Doona, which came out in October. So we're actually like, this is very new for us of being so on time with like, you know,
Yes.
K-dramas in general. This is not a K-drama review podcast. So it's something that we really wanted to just talk about, especially, and we had to talk about it with Jess specifically because we're like, whenever K-dramas and the K-pop world intersect, we're like, okay, this is our moment. So it just came out in October of 2023, and we're recording this episode in November of 2023. So yeah, look at us. Look at the growth.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Not me. Not us. Never.
So before we start, we just want to give a little heads up. If you guys haven't watched Doona, we will be giving spoilers pretty much from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to hear that, just skip this episode. We'll see you next week. You can listen to our other episodes that we've previously released, but this one is better to just skip.
Well, I mean, maybe if you want to watch Doona, but if you don't want to watch it, then feel free to just listen to us talk about it because, you know, that I do that too. I'm like, I'm not going to watch that show. I'm just going to listen to this and hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't care about spoilers, so I'll read, watch anything and then watch a show. Like, it's fine with me.
Yeah,
can't.
your chaos is a lot. I can't do it either. I need to be like spoiler free. I'm like, no, buy social media. I can't do this. And also, just to clarify, we're not exactly going to be reviewing Doona today. Like, we will talk about how we feel about it. We will talk about our thoughts in general about the show and like a brief overview. But we have some angles that we want to talk about a little bit more in depth, which kind of goes more along with our vein of K-pop and other things.
Mhm.
So, it's not your typical review episode either. So, and we're jumping right in. Just to give a very, very, very brief overview of the show. The premise of it is that there is an idol who basically went on hiatus out of nowhere. A girl who is in a girl group went on hiatus. She was in the middle of KCON with her group, which was supposed to be the biggest presentation that they had to date. It was a really big deal. All the pressure, all the steam that you can possibly imagine about the stakes being really high. And she did not want to go on stage. She was not able to sing. She told her manager before, and he said, suck it up, go on stage. She jumps off the stage, goes on this hiatus. No one knows what's going on. And then I guess she's like in some house somewhere. Then this guy, normal person, quote unquote, 31-year-old playing a 21-year-old shows up. And
Yes. We got to talk about that too.
we will talk about that. We will talk about that for sure. And he shows up and he's just, a regular dude from the countryside, or at least not the city. And he's going to go to school. He's a very smart person doing engineering. And she's basically just like trying to die via chain smoking because she's so depressed and just hates herself. And then, that one thing leads to another. Can I get it any more obvious? And it just kind
Not
of
an Avril Lavigne.
Yes, Avril
quote.
Lavigne. Why not? Why not?
It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So, the kind of it goes from there. It's kind of like they're not really from the same world. So there's all the complications of them not really making sense or their relationship not really being possible, but it still kind of happens, obviously, inevitably. There's a lot of side characters around their relationship, like the roommates that he lives with and just his old high school crush, things like that, that kind of come in to add some spice into it. And then towards the end of the show, they decide to do everything in the last 3 episodes for some reason in this drama. And then she decides, because she will be sued basically if she doesn't, to go back to her idol career. And he loves her. And he is like making a decision for the both of them, basically, it looks like, to leave her so that she can do her career and do her thing. And he will step aside and forget about love. So that's kind of the overview synopsis of it all. There's more that happens, and I'm not going to talk about the ending right now, so we can cover it later in what we think kind of devolves. But that's the crux of the story. And there's just a lot of idol specific and also just like human topics that are kind of covered. Some of them are glossed over. Some of them are like they throw it on the screen and they hope that all of us got it. And they kind of move on very quickly from that. But that's the basics of the drama. And I don't know if you guys think there's anything else important that we should talk about before we jump into any specifics, but that's my
just
take.
Basically, it's 9 episodes long instead of your normal 12 to 16. It is also, each episode is also a little bit on the shorter side. It's about 45 minutes per episode because the end credits are like 5 or 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like an anime.
Yeah. So it's on the shorter side, and because of that, a lot of the themes and a lot of the story is very rushed. It is based on a webtoon called Doona, and in English is called The Girl Downstairs. You can find it on the Webtoon app, and yeah, I mean I think that covers the bases, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Jess, anything you want to add?
Anything else?
I don't want to add anything else. That's it. Y'all covered it.
And I think that perfectly sets the tone for how we feel about the show. So
Yeah,
in short,
It
a little
seems
bit
like
of
we
a
might be on the
review.
same page.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. Jess, you can start with your review. Tell us just how you felt about it and any takeaways that you had specifically from the show.
Sure. So where do I begin? Well, first of all, we did like a full breakdown review over on Daebak. So if you want to listen to deep dive on Doona, you can do that. But
Yep.
in a nutshell, I did not like the show. I thought it was extremely boring, and I am not averse to slow burn shows, slow burn storytelling. I love that. I recently just rewatched My Liberation Notes. You cannot get any slower than that show. Loved it. So, I mean, that I have a track record of like really appreciating some slow burn romances and things that just take their time, and you need a little patience for things to get going. Doona
Right.
is 9 episodes. Tell me why I'm feeling like it's not moving. Like this
Yeah.
is dragging. I did not get behind this couple. I thought they were really weird. Will they, won't they? A strange push and pull where I didn't think there needed to be in large swaths of the show. I could not root for them. I thought they were a bad match. I thought she seemed Bae Suzy, Iduna. I thought she seemed more like a manic pixie dream girl, that she was just there in service of his story and getting him out of his comfort zone, and that he can look back on his life and be like, oh wow, she changed my life. Like, I don't think he changed her life. You know what I'm saying?
He saved her life, but she
In a
changed his
Yeah.
life.
sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as far as like a volatile female lead who has all of these toxic tendencies and just tries to get under people's skin just for attention, like all of these things make Iduna extremely unlikable. And Bae Suzy as an actress, we can talk about that in a bit, but my sense is that she has marginally improved over time, but not enough where I'm like, wow, that's not Bae Suzy.
Right. Very that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was very disappointed in the show. I would have dropped it had I not done the Daebak K-Rambles review for it, because I had promised that we were going to do that, and I stick to my guns, and I'm a person of integrity. So I watched this thing all the way through. I did not put it on a faster speed. I didn't watch it at like 1.25, 1.5 or
No,
nothing.
yeah.
I watched it raw as it was intended, and I didn't like it. I thought that all of the juicy bits of the show and the drama and the trauma were not really explored. They were just glossed over. It felt very, it sort of rude toward pretty much anyone who's going through this, especially in the idol world, in the K-pop world, who have come out very bravely and talked about some of the issues that Iduna, Doona. I combined their
I love
names.
that. I love
Anyway,
that.
Bae Doona, that's her name now.
Yep.
That Bae Doona has gone through in the show. And it's just frustrating to see them not put connective tissue together, to not show and just tell us and like have really bizarre sort of vignettes and flashbacks that are seemingly incomplete. Like, we're not getting the full picture. It's just like, you get it. You understand where we're going with this.
Yeah.
As an audience member, that's very frustrating to me. They could have explored a lot in this show, and they chose not to.
Agreed. I think part of going back to the conclusion that, you do like slow burn shows, and this was not that. I do think that this show was all over the place with what they were doing in terms of timing. So like the first 3 episodes or 2 episodes were super slow. I struggled like the first episode to just like stay just watching and be like, okay, what the fuck? Like the first 2 to 3 episodes really focused around like scenes of her chain smoking and just like trying to cease to exist, right? Like that was the focus of those episodes. And then the next couple of episodes were more about them with like their circle and the extended people around them, building those relationships and kind of trying to set the scene for what was to come. And then again, in the last 3 episodes was where everything of substance actually happened. And a lot of the miscommunication that typically comes with K-dramas was, witnessed. And like they just pass over from like, oh, today is today, and then the next scene is 4 years from now, and then the next scene is this. Like it just, that's, I don't think that this show works because of that in particular. And I think that's where you may like and you're fine with a slow burn somewhere else. This wasn't that. This was an arroz con mango of timing and pacing.
Yes.
And it was not good. It was not well executed by the people in charge.
So I actually started reading the webtoon a while back, like when it first came out. And a lot of the things that you guys are pointing out about the drama that didn't work came from the webtoon. So the webtoon artist or the author was the author of the K-drama. So they brought her in. Her name is Min Song-ah. They brought her in to do the screenwriting for the drama. And I think that's where
that's the problem.
That's the problem. I don't think she's ever done a drama before. So she tried to bring what she served with the webtoon into the K-drama, and it doesn't work because in the webtoon, she did it in 135 episodes.
Oof,
plus
I was going to ask that. How long was the webtoon? 135 episodes?
Plus bonus episodes. So the main story finished in 135, and then she did about like 10, 15 more bonus episodes. And I actually dropped the webtoon at episode 80 because of the same issue that you guys are talking about with the K-drama. She has this tendency of going into the future, back to the future, to the present. That doesn't make sense. Like there's another webtoon artist that has that same type of writing, but they do it so well that like, even if I don't understand upon first read, I'll go back to make sure that I understand. With this particular webtoon, I was like, this is dumb. I'm just gonna drop it. So I did drop it, and it basically the same problems that I had with the webtoon translated over to the K-drama. And I personally didn't like it. I'm a complainer, and I complained ridiculously to Kathy about this.
Yes, she did. Every episode.
I couldn't. It was so hard to continue. And like Jess said, if it wasn't because we were doing this, I would have dropped it. It was just too much.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I hated it because the main lead is delicious, so I can't hate it just based on that. But like it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. It's not a show that does something. How can I say this? It's not a show that makes enough of a statement to hate it or love it either way, kind of thing. You know, it's not, it doesn't really stand out in that way. I think for me personally, I didn't hate it. I thought it had some good moments. I thought most of the cast was actually really good. So they were the ones that kind of kept me around. Again, the pacing was really bad, and I don't love the like story. Like I feel like the plot was lost many times over throughout the show.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah,
this is crazy. I thought at least one of us would be like, I liked it.
No,
Wow.
I mean, I didn't hate it. I watched it in 2 days, and I had insomnia one night, so I watched like most of it during my insomnia. And I think around episode 6 or 7, which again is where things like started happening, I was like, okay, like I'm interested in seeing what's coming in the next episode just to see like how they fuck this up. But yeah, it wasn't good. It's not something that I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the edge of my seat ready to watch the next episode and excited to see what's gonna happen. Like I'm just like, I want to know more out of like, let me slow down and watch the train wreck that happened next to me, kind of, you know, that kind of curiosity pulling over to see the crash.
I do have one
great analogy.
I do have one admission or one.
You're being vulnerable about what?
I did fast forward. I hit that 10-second.
Look, I think you get a pass because you read 80 episodes or chapters of that webtoon, more than half of the webtoon. So I feel like you kind of get a pass.
Yeah, we'll allow it. We'll allow it. I did not, like Jess said, I did not fast forward, nor do I watch it faster. I tend not to even try with Korean shows just because there's a lot to read. And we've talked about this. The Netflix subbing is heavily different from the dialogue that's actually going on. So I don't know Korean, but at this point I'm 3 years into like listening to Korean, and through osmosis I've picked up enough vocab that I can tell when they're translating something that is not exactly what's being said in the sake of, or for the sake of context, and it's not necessarily like good. So I think that was another reason why I don't think I could, even as slow as they went at the beginning and everything, I don't think I would have liked to fast forward through it, because I think I picked up on way more by like the words that I heard that I knew in contrast to the words that I saw on the screen. So yeah, I also did not fast forward or watched it faster.
that drama had a lot of scenes where nobody was talking and they were really, really long. I mostly fast forward those scenes where like the male lead is just standing there walking in front of the house. And I
Yeah.
was like, when is this going to end? And I kept fast forwarding and then he wasn't
Right.
talking for a long time.
Right.
It was crazy. Also, I did try to watch it dubbed.
Oh, you did it.
Oh my God, I did it because at one point I was like, how do I continue? How do I do this? How do I
How do I
like
spice
make
this up?
right? Because I was over it and it's bad.
Oh my God,
It's
no.
so bad. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it for more than 5 minutes. I was like, oh no.
It's
Oh
no good.
no. Oh no.
Well, at least the good thing about you having this impatient nature and everything is that you're giving the listeners or viewers the whole breadth of the experience here. Like you saw it dubbed, you fast forwarded through it, you read the webtoon. Like what do you guys want in terms of what's it called? Or what's your angle? We got them all here.
I think with that, we can go on and talk a little bit more about Suzy as an actress. Like Jess mentioned earlier, we watched Dream High and reviewed it together.
Mhm.
So it's a perfect time to talk about her from when she first started
That's
to
the very
where
first
she
thing
is
she
now.
ever did.
So let's get into Bae Suzy. Let's do it.
Okay.
Right. It's
I
been 13
I want
years,
to take
right?
like yeah.
Yes.
It's been 13
years
since she did Dream High. Okay, so just for everybody listening, think about the growth and the trajectory that you would expect from someone who's been doing something for 13 years, right? That's kind of where we're at.
basically. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Jess.
Oh, I kind of want to take a back seat because I am so interested to hear what you guys think of Bae Suzy. This is basically we're seeing her on the very first thing she ever did, and then now the most recent thing that she's ever done.
Right.
So, what do you guys think about?
I'll
Bae
go
Suzy?
quickly because I don't think I have. I think I was personally like, oh my God, look, she learned how to act, but also not like she has obviously gotten better from in Dream High. She was screaming and squealing all the time, and her acting during Dream High was obnoxious and intolerable. So she learned how to package her obnoxiousness and intolerability as like a annoying girl character. Not that Bae Suzy is annoying, like the characters that she plays are in these two instances. I'm not talking about her entire I was gonna say discography. Her work as an
Filmography.
actress. Her work as an actress. I haven't seen any of her other dramas. I've just seen the first and the most recent again. So there's growth, but not 13 years worth of growth, in my opinion. And she wasn't a likable character. Like she didn't make the character likable, just like you said. Like it was hard to root, not just for them as a couple, but for her specifically. Like she really made me hate her a lot throughout the show.
She's a self-destructive.
Yeah. And like whatever she does doesn't make any sense. And she tries to justify a couple of things by saying like, oh, I just like don't know myself. And like it's not until I do something that I figure out that like I really actually wanted the other thing. It's like, ma'am, get it together. And
It's giving manic pixie dream girl. I'm telling you.
it's
like
just
like
yeah.
know.
So it was not good. And then Laura was, but we were talking again throughout it. She was having a crisis every episode for different reasons. And the fake laughter throughout the show, she is so bad at fake laughing. Like so you would expect an idol and
She's
someone who had to
cringing.
put on an act for so long to be better, to have gotten the hang of fake laughing during a scene. She has not. She has not secured the bag with a fake laughter.
At points, I wondered if she was doing it on purpose. And then once it happened enough times, I realized that she doesn't know how to do it.
She doesn't.
And it was like, I was cringing at the fact that they were trying to do this and whatever. But then like, once I realized that it's just, she can't fake laugh, it was,
yeah,
it was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. So I think I've watched more Bae Suzy than you guys.
100%.
Way more.
I've only watched these two.
So I've watched Dream High, Goo Family Book, Uncontrollably Fun, While You Were Sleeping, Startup, and now Doona. The only ones that I'm missing, I think, are Anna from 2022 and Vagabond from 2019. This is a side tangent, but people get real mad for no reason when you say your opinion that somebody can't act.
Right.
I feel like if you've watched two 3 projects, you can confidently say what your opinion is. Like, oh, I don't think they can act. I didn't like them in these 3
100%.
things.
Yeah.
I've seen her in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. I don't think she's a great actress.
Period.
Mhm.
Period. So again, 13 years of projects. They give her big roles. She's like acting against really good, famous Hallyu stars, and nothing's really rubbed off on her. Like,
Mhm.
she hasn't improved to the point where I'm like, wow, she should be winning awards. She should be, I don't know how to put this. If you consider a child actor and then you follow them 13 years later, you should have a body of work by then that's like, wow,
Mhm.
they are really great. They've improved so much. Look at them here. And it's not the case
No, at
Mhm.
all.
for
At
Bae
all.
Suzy.
I think she has like a couple of tricks that she might have learned when she was really young for acting. And I think she continues to use those tricks and think that that's going to be enough, but it's not. And we saw her, or like the two dramas that we've seen her in, she's playing a very similar character, right?
Yeah.
Like the rude girl who like has to grow up and become this better person or whatever. And she played them exactly the same
Yeah.
12, like however many years later.
It's so fitting that you guys watched Dream High and then watched Doona.
It is very fitting. Like, I'm telling you, like the second that I saw that the drama had come out, like I reached out to Laura and I was like, dude, this is like with Daebak, like reunion 2.0 with like Bae Suzy and everything like in the midst of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's what I was saying earlier about the whole thing of she managed to figure out how to tone down and package her obnoxiousness in that same vein of the character. Again, it's like Laura saying, she played a different version of the same style. But yeah, there wasn't, and that's exactly where you should be able to see the growth, because you're comparing apples to apples here, kind of, for the
Yes,
most part.
you are.
And the fact that it flatlined as much as it did just like speaks for itself. Like that's the tea. Like she really is not good at executing on these things.
I don't hate Bae Suzy.
No.
Oh yeah, no.
If I saw her on the street, I'd wish her well and I'd be really excited to see her.
Same.
People think that when you say you don't like an actor, you are like wishing ill upon them, or you're cursing them, or you're like,
Yeah.
you don't want them to have a career or anything. It's like, relax. I said what I said.
Yeah.
Susie's not going to drop dead somewhere because I said she can't really act.
No, at all. And like, this is not Rotten Tomatoes here. And at the end of the day, like with Jess, when you were
Even
saying,
if
like,
it
if you
was.
watch, right. But even when you were saying, you know, if you watch like 2 to 3 works that someone's done, you can pretty like much have an opinion. You can have an opinion based on one show. It's an opinion.
Exactly.
Like that's
exactly.
You know, we have a podcast here. We're talking and having a conversation about how we felt. We're not saying that our conclusions or our point of view is the end all be all truth. Like that's not what a review or what a conversation in a podcast is about. So for us specifically, you know, for someone like Jess, who's seen every K-drama under the sun and every C-drama right now under the sun.
Down. I haven't seen everything.
Well, a lot of them.
You've seen a lot.
And she reviews them on a consistent basis for her podcast. And then you have Laura, who's watched quite a bit of K-dramas and reads a lot of webtoons. So she's very familiar with like Korean culture and all these things. And you have me, who do not watch ever dramas. And I think I got to a conclusion, and I told Laura about it. I reached an epiphany while I was watching this one of why I don't watch K-dramas, because my excuse has always been, I will not do anything else with my life if I get into K-dramas, because I just like sit there and watch the whole thing. That's not the reason. I actually like discovered it. But anyway, you have 3 completely different points of view here. And all 3 of us have pretty much arrived at the conclusion that for us personally, we don't see growth in Susie's acting, and that is fine. It is what it is. She's still getting paid. It doesn't matter that I don't like her acting. She's getting her bag. We're here talking about it. So
still getting the CFs.
Yeah,
it's
so
fine.
What
she
does
will
it
live.
matter? No, exactly. We will too. Our opinions are just that.
Yeah.
The end. So this is my quick epiphany, just for you to know. So I think the reason I don't like K-dramas, or not, it's not that I don't like K-dramas. The reason that I don't gravitate towards it or I don't prioritize watching them is because, at least in the ones that I've seen, which I think now I'm up to 7 probably in total, is there is a lot of an irrational female lead acting crazy, right? and then un pan de Dios, good as male lead, right? Who has to put up with all her antics and figure out a way to like make the relationship work. And it's like, we know, like, you know, I get that there's like a cute escapism in the whole, like, we have this narrative of like men are trash. Not we personally, I mean like in general, like in the zeitgeist. The thing is like, oh, men are trash, whatever, men suck, men are cheaters, men are this. And K-dramas are like, no, actually, bitches be crazy and men are it. So I think like I just really don't like, going back to what you said, Jess, about the push and pull in this particular drama too. It's so unrealistic for me and it's so unnerving. Like the level of insane that some female characters are written as, and the way that these men are so good, like wow, like God himself has personified these men.
This is a very good point, and I kind of want to at some point sit down and like give you some recommendations for dramas that don't fit that same mold.
Thank
where
you.
It's like a crazy female lead and the male lead is just trying to keep up.
Even when it's not crazy, like, because I guess in this case it's not crazy, it's an illness. In the case of Attorney Woo, like that was a completely different thing of like, it's not her fault, like she's not trying to be difficult and combative and whatever, she just has an actual disorder. And but he's again so good and so hot, and he's just like, let me go be with her against all her instincts and
I'll talk about whales all day long with
exactly
her.
So it's like okay, let's be real here, and that's a thing, it's just not realistic to me at all. So
I think what contributes to that is that most K-dramas are written by women. It's women screenwriters doing the bulk of these dramas. And what they write is basically a world that is better for women, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter how crazy you are, there's going to be like this hot ass guy that's going to be there, that's going to dry your tears and help you get through whatever crisis you're going through. And we'll talk about whales with you, and we'll not bat an eye when you're acting really in a self-harming manner, like Doona in this show. And that's all fine and good. There's definitely other tropes, and
for sure,
like the opposite happens where like the man is like having a crisis and he's going through crazy times, and the female lead is really like helping him out. So I think it has to do with, it's just the female writers that are putting this sort of like aspirational spin to.
Fully agreed. Yeah.
K-dramas.
Again, I can't speak for all K-dramas because I've only watched the 7, but this is my experience that I'm saying, the conclusion that I was getting to. So go ahead, Laura.
I think it's just because of the culture that they live in too. I mean, I think Korean culture and Hispanic culture in that sense are very similar, where the woman is supposed to be as nice and as invisible as possible because we're all about our men. So they take the exact opposite and put it on screen. And I think the problem, or not the problem, the reason why you've only seen this in the 7 dramas that you watched is for the most part, the popular dramas are the ones that have this like theme and topic around it. Because there are a lot more that are nothing, like have nothing to do with that. There's a lot that are not even a little bit romantic, and I think those tend to be, to me, a little bit more interesting than the romance ones.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think right now it's a good time to talk about, Laura, what you experienced with the webtoon and just the style of writing that kind of translated into the drama, because Jess is mentioning how, you know, most of these dramas that make it big, or the ones that I've gotten to, have been written by women. And I think you have a lot of interesting takes here about the style of writing that the show portrayed and why you didn't like it specifically.
So for me, it wasn't even when I was reading the webtoon. It was more when I was watching the drama. There was this like fanfic feel to it to me. Like everything that would happen, or like any little trope that would come up, I'd be like, this feels so Wattpad. This feels like, it just feels like a K-poppy wrote this. Yeah. So I went and looked the author up, and I found her Naver blog. She's a K-poppy. So it like made everything make sense. It felt like it was someone who really likes
a female
idol
fantasy.
right, really likes idols and like really likes that world and wants to sort of like you said, live out her fantasy, live out what she thinks would be like, wow, this is so romantic. This is so awesome. And it like all made sense when I saw her blog, and she like constantly posts about things that are happening in the idol world. She was actually part of like a reality show as a judge, I think it was Webtoon Idol. So she's in that world a lot. And to me, it just like spilled over into the K drama. And I think it did it way more in the K drama than in the Webtoon, because if you guys think the K drama was a slow burn, let me tell you about the Webtoon. Oh my God.
Those first 80 episodes were just scenes about her smoking, and that was that.
It was very
Oof. Yeah, no. It doesn't need 135 episodes or bonuses. It could have been an email.
I think so. I think so.
It didn't have to be a Netflix drama. It could have been an email.
I love how you
True.
bring up that this is a very tried and true trope where it's like a normal person and an idol or a celebrity or someone who's extremely famous. And I don't mind this trope when it's done well, right? Like nobody is
course.
gonna fault something for doing a tried and true, well trodden story well. Now, I think like we've seen it in the West like time and time again. Like Disney Channel like has it on lock with this trope.
DComs. Oh my
The
God.
decom. So like Starstruck.
Oh,
Laura
From
has it.
2010.
Laura has it in her list as
you know, for a decom, that was pretty good.
Another Cinderella story with Selena Gomez and Drew
Oh.
Seeley. Camp Rock. That's another one.
yeah.
It's like a normal person and a celebrity. Model Behavior.
Oh my God. That one was also done well. It might have been because I was 10, but whatever.
Yeah. And then of course Sing to Me Paolo, Lizzie McGuire movie, where she like falls in love with Paolo, this celeb. I have certain ones that I like in movie form. Do you guys have like a little like top 3 or like top 5 of these kinds of movies
I'll sit
that
out
do
of
the
this
same
one
thing?
because I'm not a
You'll sit
tropey
out.
girl. Yeah, no. Y'all talk
I-
this out. Y'all have your moment.
Okay, Laura.
I don't particularly like, I have this thing about Hallmark movies and like
Yes.
ABC Family movies,
Well,
especially
that's-
during
They
Christmas.
do it so
Right,
much.
right.
Yeah.
So sometimes even when it's done badly like so well that like it still makes me like watch it. Like I don't know how to
It's the
like,
budget. It's the budget. That's what it is.
yeah, but also like it just sometimes it's so bad it's so good. And I think with the Hallmark movies and the ABC Family movies, if they all fall into that, and I enjoy it. Like sometimes when I'm feeling like meh and I just want to cringe at myself, I'll watch these movies and I enjoy it. Doona was not that for me.
Oh no.
I also do like, I mean, this has been going on for years, this whole like celebrity prince meets like whatever person, normal person. I think for me, one of the older movies that I really liked, and it was the inverse actually, she was the princess and the guy was just a normie, was Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
That was done so well. And
Yeah.
it's just,
That's
it's a cute
one.
movie.
It is very
but
cute. It's a classic.
right,
Yeah.
right.
That's a great example of just a normal dude meeting a princess like in Rome. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That's a great example. I have some here. The Prince and Me. Do you remember that movie? Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. This is like if they did Win a Date with Tad Hamilton in a K drama, I can see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Beyond the Lights from 2014. Have you guys seen that one? That one's
No.
really good. Definitely watch
Nice.
that one.
I'll keep it in mind.
Now I'm going to get to some that you might recognize. Notting Hill, big one. And that one feels very much in line with Doona because you have a regular dude with like a very dry but charming personality. And then you have freaking Julia Roberts. Like you could say Bae Suzy is a Julia Roberts of Korea.
Sure.
Like in the sense that
Yeah, okay.
Julia Roberts was America's sweetheart.
Yeah.
Bae Doona is the nation's first love, like one of the nation's first loves.
Right.
That's a like designation, the same as America's Sweetheart.
Right.
So Notting Hill's a big one. And then, of course, The Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Huge. With Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. So we've seen this trope time and time again. These movies and even the DCOMs that we mentioned better than Doona.
Yes. And some are questionable, but they're still better.
Yeah.
They're still better.
Well, I think another big topic and angle that we wanted to cover was the glossing over of these heavy idol issues. And like, again, a lot of it is human experience. Like anxiety is something that everybody experiences. Obviously, idols have it on a different level for specifically for their job. But I feel like the show tries to address some of the issues that idols have, but the show is not addressing it in order to make a statement or serve a purpose. It's doing it just so that they can have the male
It's name
lead
dropping
save
it.
her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just it's trying to serve the story, not like the audience or the issue. So
Right.
I took down a lot of notes because from the very beginning they're trying to hit you over the head with a metaphor of her drowning and literally being underwater.
Right.
And that feeling that people have of just being like drowning in work, drowning in stress, exactly. They literally hit you over the head for the first 3 episodes with that visual until you finally know what actually did happen, because at the beginning it's kind of all played like a fever dream sequence, and you don't really know what did happen until later on. So there's a lot of, working too hard, enduring physical and mental issues. She vocalizes that she's not doing well. She can't sing anymore. She can't be on stage. And they're just like, suck it up, buttercup. Like, we don't care. You have to do your job. Singing songs that you don't believe in. I'm sure like literally 99% of idols like have this thing where they have to sing a song a million times during promotions and then at concerts and stuff. And we don't know if they actually like what they're singing or not, because it feels like at least Western artists have a little bit more license,
authenticity,
and they work on their CDs like or albums for a year or two, so like they put more time, and it's not selected for them by a company or a committee to the extent where it's
at least in
done.
modern
Modern artistry today that what we see. The dynamic with the manager and the grooming, and that was so disgusting.
They totally had a sexual relationship.
Absolutely. And
100%.
He's 100% a predator, because they show her getting to him as like a child, a literal child. And there's so many conversations around, how young is too young to be training for being an idol. SM right now has like a 9-year-old famously that is training, and it has to be so dystopian and so weird for these kids, because most of them are not from Seoul, so they have to travel to Seoul and live there in these dorms with these other kids. Some of them are not kids anymore. Some of them are becoming adults. And then they're surrounded by all these managers. What do those dynamics look like? How do you prevent a child from projecting or falling for or having these feelings that they might have for someone that works with them, because that's all they see. Like, they don't have their families with them, so they get attached to these people.
And it was so gross how in the drama they literally put this forward, and they don't even just subtly hint at it. They like throw it in your face, the grooming, the inappropriate relationship, and then they just kind of, that's it. Like
they never address it as like it was something wrong. Like, she goes back to working with him basically. So like it didn't, this show was basically edging in so many ways, because there were no payoffs. Like, the lack of payoffs everywhere, fucking, like, that was another thing. Like, I had like a little tiny list of like things that were not paid off for me, and like it just the general lack of payoffs in general throughout the show were just like too much. Another thing I put also, like, for the idol life issues, like the pressure around certain events or launches, the whole KCON, the biggest, most important moment, you can't fail, you can't get anything wrong. And we can imagine how for albums and drops, like every time that they, you know, come out with something, it's another big moment of like, we have to outsell, we have so much competition, we have to come back every 6 months or every 3 months when you count the Japanese comebacks for so many of these groups. The relationship between the members, the competitiveness that is like naturally to arise, especially between women, because we're always pitted against each other. So that conversation between her and her member, which was again glossed over, did not give us enough of anything.
It's not good storytelling. It's not
at
good
all,
storytelling.
even a little bit
at all.
They don't do any of these topics that you've mentioned any
justice
at
all. Yeah. And then the one that was the biggest one for me, because Laura started watching it before me and she was like, I think I have like a couple of ideas that I want to cover during the episode. And then when I started watching, I saw basically like the judgment and the abuse from the fans as the biggest thing that stood out to me. And that was not where she, like Laura had seen more, again, the fanfic and the webtoon like stuff that she knew from before. But I think again, they just blatantly show the abuse from the fans and all these things. And it's only like Wonjun at some point that says like, you know, are you okay? Like in one scene, and like all the abuse that goes on throughout the show and all the other moments of seeing the conversations between the fans and the comments that they made, it's not really addressed to them, like just how wrong, how deep abuse this is. And you know, we see all these articles about K-nets and netizens think, and netizens, what, fuck netizens, bro. Like the way that they dehumanize idols is so, but it just goes beyond because like it's not just a mob, it's an entitled mob that is also very wrong, but they swear that they're so right. Like it reminded me of Tableau's controversy and the Tableau.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like how wrong can you be? And the fact that these people are still around trying to call him out on lying, and they don't give up.
And to me, it goes back to this being done by like a K-poppy, because as a K-poppy, you see all of this, but instead of showing or trying to show how it's not okay and there should be a shift,
she doesn't pass judgment on all of these bad behaviors.
No, she treats it like it's normal and it's okay, and like let's move on, because that's just how K-pop idoldom is. So instead of just trying to like, I don't know, show how bad the industry is, she's just saying this is the status quo, and yeah, let's move on. Or
even how it affects Doona. Like we don't get the full picture.
No.
Other than, you know, she's kind of nonchalant about a stalker that comes to the house, and she's like, oh,
nonchalant,
like,
but also shaking at the same time.
Right.
It's like, okay, pick stick to your guns here. Pick a lane.
Yeah.
And is she kind of weary about it, or is she suffering internally over everything that's happened to her? I think it's a little bit of both. That she's putting up a front and also really struggling. But
but they don't show it well.
They don't show this.
They don't
we just get that visual of her drowning on stage every time.
Yeah.
Or her chain smoking and like doing these kind of manic episodes.
Yep.
That like, I don't know what they're trying to tell us. Like, what's the message?
We don't even see her, or we don't see how she gets over this. We get this weird like sequence of her going to a show and getting on stage, but it just felt so rushed disjointed. And so like,
and rehearsing and just existing as an idol, like nothing happened.
It just felt so weird.
So they would rather give us these like off-brand moments than really stick to the crux of the issues and show us more meaningful, poignant moments that point to some grander message about who she is and how she's getting through and healing from all of these different ordeals.
I know I keep bringing it back, but I think as K-poppies, we know some idols or some of the people that we love are struggling, but for some reason, some people, instead of acknowledging and hoping that the industry changes, they kind of want to just pretend everything is okay. And even though they struggle, they're different. They're idols. They're not normal people. So they're able to get out of that hole faster, easier, with less trauma than us normies. And that's kind of what this particular show felt like. It validated
that in a way.
It dehumanized her.
Yeah,
Right.
fully dehumanized her. And it goes back to what Laura's saying about the fans. Like, the fans in many instances, like, we're not those fans. We know, like, ourselves, we're not this, but we see it a lot of, like, these fans think that they own the artist and that the artist
Mhm.
owes them something.
Mhm.
There's this relationship that is so sick. And like, when we did a post on our Instagram for the World Mental Health Day, and
Mhm.
Laura included a post in one of the graphics about Taeyeon, from Girls' Generation, that, you know, she wasn't doing well, and she posted about just, you know, how she was doing, and I think she had
Yeah.
a Q&A on her Instagram stories or something,
I
and
love that
people
post from
were
you guys. I remember
answering
sharing
like,
it.
oh, thank you. People were answering like, you know, just get it together. Like, you're an adult now. You're like a grown woman. Like, you know, and we don't
It
know
was
if these
fucked.
comments are coming from 12-year-olds, because it's not good either to assume that everything bad comes from children who don't know better, because there are
Right.
plenty
No,
of adults who also don't know
yes.
better. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just so, like, yeah, this didn't do any favors to that. And also the stalker and the saucing situation, like, you know, the whole, like, oh, it's some kid from the convenience store who just, like, wanted to, you know, take
And then she
pictures
didn't want
and
to press
see her.
charges. Like, she's not like
Exactly. Again,
I-
the it's not setting a good example as a
It's not.
show. It's not
Mhm.
setting a realistic situation either, because, you
Mhm.
know, now Wonjun is like Spider-Man running or the Flash, I
Y-
guess, or Usain Bolt
right.
running at the speed of light to catch this kid, beats him up, and it's
Jinx.
like, and the whole, like, oh, we went to his house, we got the memory card, it's been deleted, his parents talked to him, he wrote an apology, here's the it's that's not like how anything works, bro. Why are you laughing, Laura? Well,
Actually, I am a true crime fan. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and documentaries. And in the last year or so, I've been listening to true crime about Korea. And I've learned a little bit, just a little bit about
yeah.
Korean
Good on you, girl, because I could
crime,
not.
Korean, not crime, but like Korean law, crime and
Yeah.
order, law and order, whatever.
Crime and order.
it,
It
and
is crime and order. There's no law, honestly. TBH.
honestly,
TBH.
that portrayal is actually pretty realistic with how Korean
Mm.
culture is. I've seen a lot of real crimes that
True crime.
happened, right, where the resolution is something that us as Americans on this side don't really understand. Like,
Yeah.
I try to like understand it, but I'm not from that culture, so it's really, really hard. And stuff like this actually does happen. It's not uncommon to see things be resolved in ways that do not make a lot of sense to us on this side of the
I
globe.
get really frustrated with that because I'm a like
Mm-hmm.
slightly violent, vengeful person.
Yep.
And as an example, when I first moved into my condo, I ordered a blanket and it was a nice throw blanket and it came in a big box. And
Mhm.
this kid that was putting flyers up on all of the condos for a pizza place, he was like, he put a flyer up and then in the doorbell camera, you saw him like walk by again. And then he finally took my package. And it was this whole thing. I went to the pizza place and I was like demanding to see the manager, demanding to see the kid. They like paid him in cash. It was like this like hole in the wall pizza place. They couldn't give me any answers. They were really scared when I showed them the doorbell camera footage of the kid stealing my package. And I called the cops because they like the kid ended up saying like, oh, it's behind your condo unit. He had like opened it, saw it was a blanket and threw it in the bushes behind the building. So I ended up recovering my blanket. And this sounds so stupid because it's a blanket, but
It's the
what
principle.
It's a
it's the
principle.
principle.
Yeah.
I got so
Mhm.
livid. I've never been so livid in my life. Like
Mhm.
someone stealing property from my property.
Yeah.
And
No, like every time we see the Korea Herald stories that are posted, like there was one this week about an 80-year-old man who essayed another old elderly woman, and he was let go
it
because he's
makes
too
my blood
old to
boil.
be a
No,
flight risk.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
no.
it was so
That makes my blood
ridiculous.
boil. Like that kid stole a blanket from me. Imagine if
Yeah.
he stole an iPad or something
Yeah.
else that
Yeah,
was like
no,
delivered.
no.
Like he would have taken it and not thrown it in the bushes behind my house. So
Yeah.
I called the cops and I pressed charges and I got a handwritten note months later after like everyone was subpoenaed and stuff. And it looked like it came from a toddler, like the handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was the pizza delivery guy. It wasn't a delivery guy. It was just like a flyer guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm getting this summons in the mail and I don't understand what's happening. I gave you your package back. Like I didn't steal anything. And I don't understand. Like he didn't understand that he committed a crime, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, just take this guy off the streets then, because I was so livid. And the handwritten note, I kept it for the longest time. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever received. So imagine a stalker coming to my house. If I was a celebrity, I would like bury that mofo.
Taking pictures as you undress.
I would bury them.
Yeah.
In Korea, the pressure probably would have been on you to accept his apology and move on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I every time I listen to these podcasts or watch something, I go back to Kathy and I'm like, I fucking cannot deal with this. How is this even allowed? Like it's a lot. Like truly it's a lot.
I think that their culture relies so much on forgiveness and patience and long suffering and not making a scene, not making waves. And if the person shows true remorse or whatever, then the public seems to go easy on them, or the victim should go easy on this person because look, they wrote this handwritten note. They're apologizing. They're cooperating with the police, blah, 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 blah. Don't press charges. They're young. They're old, whatever. Yeah. And it's like,
or too pretty.
I do not give a fuck. Like personally, and here in the West, I feel like this is also the prevailing, like, they committed a crime. They should pay the consequences.
You fucked around, you find out.
You fucked around, so this is it. You're finding out.
All day. Except if you're in politics, but that's a different issue.
That's a different, you know what? We don't have that much time on the podcast.
We don't have that much time. So going back to just idle life issues, the whole also like not being able to date and have a romantic life, at least publicly. It's just, I'm like, girl, you need good music. Adele needed to write those hits and she needed to get her heart broken to write those hits.
I gotta be honest, every time someone here in the West gets their heart broken or they have a divorce or it's really messy, I'm like, oh my God, I'm praying for them. I hope they get through it. I can't fucking wait for the next album.
Yeah.
Like I get really sort of maniacally excited for the work that they're going to produce because through the pain comes this like cathartic.
That's how they heal. That's how they heal.
Yeah. And also sometimes through love comes out some gorgeous music too. Like
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. JB from GOT7 came to mind with his 2 albums, Love and Abandoned Love. Like the first one is all about love and it's gorgeous.
It's
like,
so good.
I also have a problem with how this drama dealt with the dating thing, especially at the very fucking end. That last episode, oh my God, I got so fucking
Let's get
heated.
into it. Let's get into it.
Are we talking about the ending now?
Let's do it. Why not?
Yes, let's get it. So
let's go.
In this fucking drama, sorry, I just got really heated because it literally made no sense. So she goes back to her manager. She goes back to being an idol and doesn't say shit to Wonjun and expects him to just wait. So eventually, nobody knows how much time has passed. She comes back and she's like, so this is our plan. We're going to do this. You can wait for 2 years. You're going to be enlisted. It's going to be perfect. And it's like, girl.
1-800 you thought.
Like you could have, and it's all.
1-800 you thought. Oh my God, I've never heard that before. That is so good, Jess. Wow, ended me. Oh, that was so good.
And
sorry, Lana, we like derailed you. I'm sorry.
Good. And to me, it's crazy that like it's all painted like it's Wonjun's fault for like not waiting. Like
he's the one that has to apologize. Why?
She could have figured out a way to get a message across to him before she went to talk to the manager. She could have been like, hey, I'm going back. This is our plan. This is what we're going to do. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. No, I don't agree. But like, just out of it.
No, trash.
I'm very annoyed.
You're telling me she can't get to a payphone. She can't borrow a phone from somebody on the staff. She can't borrow a phone from her hairdresser and send him a text, send him an email, something like.
It's just
nothing at all.
Stupid.
Snail mail.
No, it didn't make any sense at all. It was very aggravating. And the fact that, when she fucked up, he was like, apologize and whatever. And then she tried to turn it on him and have him do the same thing years later when he didn't fuck
Yeah.
up. He was letting her live her life that way that she wanted
Yeah.
to live her life.
Yeah.
And now you think
Yeah.
he's in the wrong? Like, fuck you. Also, his tears, his acting, beautiful. I loved it.
Oh,
I really
love
liked
him.
it.
No,
I
he's
love
not
him.
a
Really
bad
liked it.
actor.
No, he's
I
not
love
bad at
him.
all. I thought he
I
was
love
good. I
him.
think he
Who
delivered
was
what he
this?
needed
This
to
was
deliver.
Yang Sejong.
Yeah.
And he's so good looking.
He's good. He's a really
He's
good actor.
very good. It was really funny because Laura, when we were talking, I don't know what episode she was on, but she's like, they zoomed in a lot on his hands. And that again, they were trying to drive this narrative that he was a fetus that hadn't been birthed yet and I was like, how old is she supposed to be on the show? Because they're making such a big deal about the fact that he's 21 and just starting out in college. Like, is she 45? What is happening? I don't understand. And then again, all the zooms on his hands, and Laura's like, that is not a 21-year-old's hand. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's not. Let me
Like,
look up how old
he's
is Yang
31.
Se.
He's turning 31 next month. Next
He's
month he turns 31.
And then Susie's 29, basically 30.
Yeah. He did
They're
not
both
look.
playing 20-year-olds, basically.
Yeah.
21. And
Susie,
that was strike one
Pass
right
out.
there, because they are not.
Yeah.
In no way do I believe that they're 21-year-olds.
At all.
I mean, Susie, okay, she could be 24, 25. That's fine.
No,
Sure,
I
yeah.
But he does not look 21 at all. Like, he looks like a grown-ass man, because he is
That's a man.
grown-ass man.
Yeah. He's delicious. He's like, and I forgot to mention this to Laura, I think when we were talking about it. The shower scenes were not as gratuitous in this show, which I was kind of surprised
No.
about. They weren't as exploitative as they are in other shows.
But there were a lot.
But they were there. But they were definitely there. That the trope of the shower scenes was definitely
Always.
troping. Always troping.
So for the drama, pretty much, there are two ways that you can see the ending. You can see it as a realistic, quote unquote, ending where they don't end up together, or you can see it as they end up secretly dating and secretly living happily ever after. So there's this article that I read that was kind of explaining how, like, because most people saw it as they didn't end up together or whatever.
Mhm.
And this article was explaining how it's not actually that. And it all made sense to me once I read it. So basically, they're saying if you look closely, you see a lot of the story isn't being told in a line.
Mhm.
It's kind of all over the place in the timeline. And throughout the whole series, they give you little clues to show you that they actually did end up together. And one of the things that they mentioned was the same director, or the director that did this drama is the same director from Crash Landing on You.
Correct.
And even
They
though
got
I
a good
had never,
director and a rookie writer, basically.
Yeah.
to do
And
this.
even though I've never seen Crash Landing on You, with the internet, you kind of
Really?
have to see. Yeah, with the internet, you don't have
You're
to
a
see things to
unicorn
see
in
it.
the K-drama
La-
community.
Laura doesn't like mainstream stuff. If
I
like
really
if
don't.
everyone's like
También,
flocking to
también.
it, she kind of stays away. She likes to give the indies and the
Ya veo.
underdogs a chance.
I do.
Got
So
you.
with Crash Landing on You, the finale was also kind of similar. This article says that, like, it has that they're not together, but they are together feel. And it really made sense because at the final scene, they're both
On like
just
a
so
business
happen to
trip
be
in
in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
They do a lot of those like little snippets at the beginning of the episode, right after the credits, where they show like a
Mhm.
scene of either like a train or something, and it's supposed to be a moment of where they were both in the same place, and it plays into whatever stupid dialogue this writer wrote about how in their lives or their relationship feels like they're both in the same station but going to different places, or like next to each other, something like that, about being in the same station. Those little flash scenes are supposed to kind of play into that, and those are like the hints to let us know that like they keep meeting. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but they keep being able to make it work or not. Like they're just in the same place at the same time every time.
I felt so fucking disappointed when I read that article and saw like that kind of interpretation of the ending, just because, like, not only is this drama not that good, but then you're falling into the same trope at the very end. Like, are you kidding me? Seriously?
Yeah, it was very
So,
cheap. But wait, Jess, do you know how the webtoon ends?
They don't end up together, right? In the webtoon.
No, but
Mm-mm.
it's a different couple. Laura, tell her.
he ends up with Ira.
What?
The crazy girl. He
Yeah.
ends up with the crazy
The
girl that
crazy
his
girl.
parent that they
Get
were
the
born on
fuck
the
out
same
of
day.
here.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
here with that.
Yeah.
He ends up with
Nuh-uh.
Ira. And one of the reasons why in the webtoon, or one of the reasons like netizens are saying that there were bonus episodes for the webtoon was because in the webtoon, I read the last episode and a couple of the bonuses one, just to kind of like get a feel for it. And the last episode is very like, it's very much like the drama. It leaves you in this place that you're like, okay. So
Okay.
they think, or they're like surmising that because a lot of the people that were reading this were like, that what? Can you explain a little bit more? Like, I'm a little lost. She wrote a bunch of these bonus episodes to kind of like dwell a little bit more into that.
To make it make sense,
That's
or
a
force it to
bad
make
writer.
sense.
Like that's literally
Yeah. And
it
in the
confused
webtoon,
everyone to no end that you have to like follow it up
Mhm.
with 10 more
Yeah.
episodes just
And
to get
in
clarity.
in the last episode of the bonus episodes, fucking hot mess express. It was, so he ends up with Ira, and even in the webtoon, even though he's happily with this girl, with this,
He's a cheater?
he's not a cheater, but like everyone is still kind of like not
one that
trying
got
to
away.
mention Doona. Like his sister is like trying to like, she sings a song of Doona and she's like, "Oh, so sorry, like I feel so bad for Ira that like
It's messy.
she has to listen to this." And it's like,
Ugh.
you
It's
could
so
have not just
messy.
put them together. Like, this is so weird. It's very, very weird. But it also perpetuates that whole idea that people from different socioeconomic statuses cannot mix. And the webtoon said, nope, you can't. You can save them, but you can't stay with them.
Oh,
Deep in the depths.
got
Deep in the
me.
depths.
I like rocked back a little bit.
Totally.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like that angle. And I don't know, there's lots of musical K dramas that kind of deal with a lot of these same issues that do it better and, you know, talk about the overworked nature, the anxiety, the online bullying, the stalking, the sassings, and everything else just so much better than this show. And as to whether they make it or not, those K dramas tend to err on the side of they can make it work.
Yeah.
Right. And
It'll
actually
happen for them.
another thing that I'm remembering in the webtoon is in the K-drama, Wonjun was the one that ended the relationship. In the webtoon, it was her. She ended it by saying, "Oh, I have a boyfriend," but she didn't have a boyfriend.
What?
She, yeah. She was just like trying to figure out.
You're saying basically that the
No.
screenwriter, the screenplay, is so insecure in her work that she writes an ending for the webtoon, and then people are not happy, so she has to keep writing more things to make it make sense, and it doesn't. And then she goes and she writes for Netflix and she does a completely different ending just to please other side of people. Like, does she have a belief, like anything? Does she know what she's doing? Because it doesn't sound like she does.
She has a lot of popular webtoons. Doona is not her only webtoon. And she keeps being contracted by Webtoon, which is a really big app for manhwas. So, I mean, I think she knows, or maybe just people like,
listen,
I
Suzy
honestly
is still
doesn't
getting
know.
hired to act, and that doesn't say
That's true.
anything. So
That's very true.
What do you guys think? Can it work? Like, can a normal person
Yeah.
and a idol make it
yeah,
work? I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it
for
can. I don't
sure.
think this couple makes it any,
No.
realistic or feasible.
Like,
But
do I see them
yeah,
at 80 years old, like still in love and still with each other?
No.
Fuck no. Like, they're not
No.
in game.
no.
Jinju was endgame. Just
Yes, Jinju was
Y'all wanted him to
endgame.
get with Jinju?
It just made sense.
she should have been like, the way the author took her time with Jinju's growth as a
Yeah.
character,
Mhm.
Yeah.
even when she was just the side quote unquote character, and left Doona to be pretty much the same person throughout, made no sense to me.
No. And she, like, the actress played her really well. Like, the actress really did what she had to do with that lost plot line of buried in the bottom of the Atlantis, because she was so endearing. You rooted for her. Everything she said, you're like, I see you. Like everything about her made sense, and everything that she went through was horrible. Like Laura said, the growth was so evident and so good. And the actress that played her, I told Laura that she reminded me of Melissa Villaseñor, like the way that she smiles. She used to be a cast member for SNL, and it's just
Now I have to look
it's
up
like
Melissa.
a cute boxy smile situation with like a short hair. I don't know, it just like gave me that vibe, and
Yes.
I liked her a lot, and they just made so much sense. Like when he in that moment of like when Jinju moved in, and it was still kind of seemingly a fight between her and Doona. I wasn't really sure like where he was pulling, and when he was like, "I'm sorry, I don't like you like that anymore," I was genuinely heartbroken because they just make so much
Same.
sense. And for him to
Same.
pine over her for so long, and then all of a sudden be over her because of the chain smoking girl like in the building, like I'm sorry, no.
With a tepid kiss in like the kitchen or
Okay, wait,
bathroom or
no,
whatever.
but wait, you know what? I was gonna say, there was a scene, I don't know if it was in episode 6 or 7 or whatever, when when they started making out, the sound department came for me because I haven't.
Oh yes, talk
That
about it.
was such a fucking disgusting, wet, like amalgamation of editing noises that I was like, holy fucking shit. Did they put like a mic, or was this one of those things where, you know, people do like sound effects and they do like different like
Yes.
objects to make the sound? Like, was someone sticking their hand into like wet, moist something? Because this sounded so fucking gross.
The Foley artists were doing too much.
Dude.
I think that was their way to be a little bit edgy because the kisses were very, very intense. So I think the noises were just trying to be like a little bit edgy. I noticed that like once they were kissing, there was only background noises. There wasn't like background music, or maybe at least I didn't hear it. It was just like noises.
Also,
which
like,
is
again,
fine, I guess. But
they were trying to sell the whole thing of this 31-year-old man being 21. Okay, fine. But then these kissing scenes, it's like horny teenagers, like 12 years old, that just kissed for the first time. And for some reason, they can't go inside the house that they live because, oh my God, the roommates are going to find out. But then also fucking walks out of the room the morning after, like it's all good.
Right. Like
What?
it's inconsistent.
Girl, no. Immediately,
You
no.
make valid points, Kathy.
No, but those sounds though, because again, I was like watching it in the middle of the night, so like complete silence around me,
Right.
and I'm just hearing like these like chewing noises of like, what is happening?
These
No,
chewing noises.
no,
it wasn't hot to me. It was just
not.
kind of awkward.
It didn't make any sense.
Like really awkward.
It didn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
I think after the first one, I just started fast forwarding through them because they were a lot.
Maybe
and
that's
they
why
were
you
quite
didn't hear the
long.
traumatic kissing noises, because it was
No,
really fucking bad.
It was just too awkward.
It was bad.
It wasn't hot to me at all. It was gross.
Sorry.
Some people were saying that was some of the best K-drama kissing that they'd seen, and I was like,
those people were 9. I'm sorry. Those people were 49
so I
years
guess
old.
you've not watched K-dramas
or haven't been kissed in your life, because no. What?
Yeah, it was bad.
So
What?
it's so accurate because like,
It was pretty
what
bad.
are you talking about?
No, that was so
Yeah.
disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So yeah.
I was actually looking forward to it to see what like the hype was about, because I had seen people say, "Oh, these were so good. Oh my God, other K-dramas better like take notes." And then I was very disappointed. and
Take
just
notes.
fast-forwarded.
You're offending me.
No.
It
It was
notes?
terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
No.
It was
Ew.
terrible.
It was so gross. Yeah.
You know, one thing that I did notice about both the webtoon and the K-drama that take a shot every time I say this goes back to like the author being a K-poppy is that as K-poppies, we like to, maybe not we, but K-poppies are just people that have idols or celebrities that they love, want to believe that the idols are doing what they like, and they go through all of these terrible things because they love what they do. And this drama and webtoon both try to sell you on the point that even though Doona had such struggles at the very beginning, in the end she went back to singing because it's what she was born to do.
I never got that.
Never.
Me neither.
It's such muddy water for
but
that
that's
argument.
what she wanted. But that's what she wanted to portray. Like it just,
I'm sorry. She started humming again after she got digged down, and we're supposed to believe that her true love is music? No, I refuse. I refuse. No.
It was glossed over, but that's what they want us to believe, that she chose her career over the man she loves.
I'm so done with
Like,
this show. I'm so done with this show.
because in the
Anything
end,
to
they
add?
didn't even explain how like she was gonna pay back the money that she owed, or if that was the reason, or like
But
they
also,
just
she
kept
was
giving me
sitting on
flashbacks.
endless money, though. She was sitting on
Yeah,
endless money, and she was rich, and
like,
she had the whole down like floor to herself. And no, this show makes no fucking sense.
I mean, they just
She
kept
paid
going
back
back to
like
that.
her mom's debts, and that was a whole
Dude, the way that
scandal.
the mom
I don't
walked
know,
in
man.
and was
I
like,
don't
"You've
know.
gained weight," and then also when she met with her old bandmate and was like, "You're ordering a milkshake," wow, you've really let yourself go. These comments had me.
And she never drank it.
She never drank the.
She never really like ate much on the show. Like he was always the one that was eating, and she was supposed to sit there and eat there with him, but she wasn't eating anything. And again, like her mom being like, "You've gained weight," and like walks in the whole swindling thing with her mom. They never went into anything. Where was the payoff? Like, even I mean, I guess for people who watch the show, I mean, it could be all kinds of people, all walks of life, right? So, for example, when she went back to being an idol, that she was doing like that meet and greet fan sign, whatever the hell, that the guy came with the spy cam glasses, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I
and the
love your
glasses.
glasses. Let me try them on," and then gave him to the thing and called the guards and had him escorted out. Like, I don't know if people know about the spy cam glasses, because that's not a common thing in like the
I've
US.
never
I don't
seen that.
know. Thank you. I'm
It's
like,
because she heavily relied on a lot of Korean culture things that might have gotten lost in like on the public, like the whole swindlers, the whole like
yeah,
debt, the parents owing a lot of money and the debt falling into the children. That's, you see that in Korean content everywhere. The
yeah,
whole like spy camera thing, that's such a big problem in Korean
yeah.
society, but we don't, it was very Korean.
Yeah,
Very
but
Korean.
again, there was no payoff. There wasn't any
Mm-mm.
development on the important things. Like, I think a lot of things could have gone over a lot of people's heads, myself included, just because of how little the show went into the development of things. Like, for example, you know how first she had the stalker, right? But then after the stalker was discovered, the lights went out, and like she was scared. And that time that she got locked in the bathroom, like,
Yeah,
did someone lock her in? Did she lock herself in because she's
Yeah.
having a manic
exactly.
crisis? Did the breaker
Yeah.
go off on its own and her lights went out? Like, but it was right after the
Yeah.
stalker. Like, there were so many things that I was like, huh? I don't
Yeah.
I don't
It's
understand what was
bad.
supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
It's bad, and I blame the writer for a lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A
Agreed.
lot of it.
And
Agreed.
his family and like the health situation of his sister and everything, like
Oh
it was
yeah,
never explored. Like, he like went in and out, went to the thing, yeah, do the surgery if they say do it like as soon as possible. What
yeah.
like
Kathy. Yeah, we're on the same page.
In the
I am
webtoon,
frustrated.
Yeah.
his sister, from what I recall, was fine, and his dad was alive.
No,
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, this author was really trying to live.
It
She
was
was trying
she
to
was on like a
have her
George
cake and
Lucas
eat it
trip.
too.
She was on
Yeah,
a George
Yeah.
Lucas trip, just like making
Oof.
changes.
Yeah.
trying to
It
have her
Jar
was
Jar
cake and eat it
basing it.
too. Yeah. No, man, this is not good. Yeah.
I-
In
Laura.
conclusion, so
In
if we had to
conclusion,
rate this, what would you rate it?
Out of stars or what? Or like
Sure,
A, B, C,
five
D?
stars or whatever rating you're comfortable with. You can rate it out of avocados. It's fine, whatever you want.
Oh, avocados. Okay. Um, let's do one avocado
Okay.
because I thought the music video for Doona's, what was the name of the group? I forgot the name of the group. I watched it and I was like,
Dream Sweet,
Dream
Dream
Sweet.
Sweet.
Dream Sweet. Because I thought that music video was like, I was like, I could see this being real. So
Yeah.
that was it. It's such a like nothing show. Like even the ending, when you're talking about the ending, is it good? Is it bad? Did they get together? Did they not to get together? I don't care. Like I don't care
Yeah,
that
same.
much.
Yeah.
So
Same.
if they got
After
together, great. If not, fine.
Who cares? Yeah.
I don't care. So maybe just 1 star. 'Cause
yeah.
I'm so
Okay.
indifferent to so much of it, and then genuinely upset by the storytelling.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you
On
had
the
to
other
do
hand.
2 episodes on this show, Jess, because it's
Oh
honest.
my God,
I'm
no,
so
I'd
glad
rather
that I
get
don't
it
have to
all
think
out
about it
now.
after today. After today, I will never think about the show. We'll never mention the show. Like, it's done.
Same.
It's so done.
Done.
Laura,
Dead and
rating?
buried.
I will rate it 2 strawberries out of 5 because
Oh,
That's
the
generous.
only thing that made listen. The only thing that made sense to me in this whole drama was Wonjun in jeans. And that's why it gets 2 strawberries out of 5.
Wonjun in denim gave it
Ugh.
2 strawberries.
Listen,
It
those
was
jeans,
good denim.
he was
It was
so
good denim.
deliciously thick in the right areas, and the jeans were just right for him. Like the way that it fit
Yep.
around his
Yep.
thighs, but it was just like loose,
Ooh.
but not bell, you know? I also had a
Perfect.
moment of
Perfect.
like, yeah, I've never really cared for jeans the way that I cared for jeans on him. Fact.
And a t-shirt.
Oh.
Wow.
That was
2 stars because of that.
That was revolutionary. Okay, no. I'm with Jess. I'm gonna give it a 1 just because the jeans were not enough for me to give it a whole other strawberry avocado star, whatever the fuck we want to give it, out of 5. I thought the bad outweighed the good in this show
Mhm.
heavily. And I don't think I'll ever recover from the kissing noises. So I fully like 1 full anything is a little too much for what I want to give it, TBH.
It was
But
just
yeah,
not a good watch experience.
it
Like,
wasn't.
It wasn't.
the experience of
wasn't.
watching the show was terrible.
It
They didn't do themselves any favors. They didn't do us any favors. They didn't do idol culture any favors. It was a
No.
flop.
There's
Full
so
flop.
many good idol K-dramas about idols, not necessarily idol dramas. It's like a different animal entirely.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's so many, and they do it really well. Like my favorites are Shut Up, Let's Go, Flower Boy Band. Have you guys seen that one? It's
You
an
know, I
older
have
one.
not.
No.
No.
I have heard about it
All
and
right.
it's been on my watch list, but I haven't watched it.
You know, if you want to see a K-drama where it's a celebrity with a normal person and it kind of plays off of that old show We Got Married.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard of that Korean
Yeah.
show?
That we have.
Okay, that one's So I Married an Anti-Fan. I quite enjoyed that one.
There's a webtoon on it.
I know. It's a lot of K-dramas are based on webtoons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I quite
Okay.
enjoyed that
Well,
one.
I'll add it to my watch list that I'll never get to because again, K-dramas.
I've been meaning to read the webtoon, so
You know,
I'll
on
check
our
it out.
episode, on our Doona episode, Liliana from Tea and Soju said that she saw this drama about an ailing girl group who was like trying their best to do one
The
last
Coop?
hit,
The Coop one?
and it was called Idol the Coop. And now
Mm.
I want to watch that one because she said it was really good.
I will again add it to the list that I will never get to, but it'll be added to the list.
I'll add it.
There's so many. Like you could just go online and be like, I want to watch a drama about this, and type it in, and you'll find it. Doona doesn't fit the bill for like anything.
Mm-mm. I want to watch a drama with a hot male lead and jeans. That's about the one.
You should watch some other of his dramas because he's got some good ones.
Yeah.
Temperature of Love is really good.
Mm.
Still
He really did
17
change
is really good. I don't think you're into historicals, so I won't recommend.
I am. I
historical.
actually
You
like
are?
really fucking want to like the ones that I want to watch the most that are highest on my list are all historical.
Oh my god! So watch My Country: The New Age from 2019, and it's got
Okay.
Woo Do-hwan. Do you like Woo Do-hwan?
I don't know all the actors. I'm sorry.
He's from like Bloodhounds.
I don't watch the drama, so I don't know.
Let
the
me
actors.
send you a picture. He is.
Send a picture of Woo Do-hwan, and she'll be like, "Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay, I'm gonna watch My Country: The New Age. I'll watch that shit."
Laura knows exactly what
Ooh,
gets me.
ooh, and he is right up your alley. I'll
Oh,
send you a picture.
please.
Ooh, sounds enticing. I'm enticed. I'm interested. So, okay, we all definitely did not enjoy the situation. Love that for us.
No.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I feel seen, definitely. It's cool when
Misery
you
loves
can-
company.
It does. It really, really does. I'm proud of all of us for having integrity and finishing the episodes with whatever methods we had to employ to do so, whether
I
it
do
was
too.
insomnia, speeding through, fast forwarding, or just, raw dogging it. I
Oh
appreciate
my
all of
god!
us.
I have in my notes the last thing was, have you guys seen people making fun of Susie's smile on social media?
Yes. Yeah.
It's
The flirting,
not
the
okay.
flirting thing. Or no, it's a
It's not
different thing.
okay.
No, it is like she has like a Susie smile.
Ooh, Laura, he looks dangerous. I like this picture that you sent me.
It's
Ooh.
giving her smile. It's giving the oh my god, the Debbie Ryan like
Oh,
little like tuck. It's
The
giving
hair
that.
tuck.
Yes, it's giving that. It's
It tickles me. It tickles me to see people
Oh wow, the
keying in on this so
jawline.
specific thing. No, who the
Let
one
me
is
show
like
you the
fine.
pictures that Laura's showing me, Jess.
Those are good
He's
photos.
delicious.
Yes, he's so fine. Oh, definitely
Mm.
watch My Country, the New Age.
Yeah, that jawline needs to be seen from
That's
every
on
angle.
Netflix. It's easy to find.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got me. You got me, girl.
Nice.
You got me.
We're ending on a good note, like Woo Hwan and
Yeah.
historical and
Yeah.
Yang Sejong. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm ready for it. So I guess with that, we can close this episode and put Doona way back in the
Behind
past.
us. Rear view.
It's not going to be affecting our lives any longer. And we're so happy, Jess, that you came back to talk to us about this and put yourself through trauma a second time. We really value the fact that that you made that sacrifice for us.
Well, when
Thank
you
you.
said you wanted me to come on for the Dune episode, I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then you guys were like, oh, okay, we're gonna watch it now. And I was like, oh, y'all haven't watched it yet? And I was like, Godspeed. Like, fucked off out of the group text. It was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, it was funny because I was on Threads, which I'm rarely on Threads, but I was, I'm trying to detox from Twitter or whatever alphabet letter it wants to be called today. And I was on Threads and I saw the article about it and I was like, oh my God, another drama with Suzy and it's about idol life. Let's see what Jess thinks about it. And yeah, and then that's kind of how it all devolved. But yeah, we hadn't seen it when we approached you to do it. And I think that was
But I
for the
thought you
best.
had. And
Mm-mm.
then you said you hadn't. And I was like, oh, I'll be praying for y'all.
No, we went in blind.
Yeah.
We went fully blind.
Yeah. I would have never chosen it. It's too popular.
Lauda's like all about the indie K-dramas.
That's who she is as a person. She supports all the idols that are like least popular or like most hated. She doesn't
Underdogs.
watch the dramas that are like, everyone gasses up. Like she's on her own
Yeah,
path and her
I like
journey.
that.
And we respect that about her. So,
I appreciate that
Yeah.
tremendously.
yeah. She went against all odds when she got us all into K-pop and stuff. So, we have to thank her for her relentless work
Yes.
here. Yeah.
Yes.
So Jess, please tell our listeners again where they can find you and anything else that you want to share.
You can find me on all the socials at Daebak Pod, DAEBAKPOD. And it's the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast on all streaming, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all the rest. And we'd love to have you over there. Obviously, you can find a few episodes with our girls, Kathy and Lauda, as well.
Yes, you can.
And have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. And by the time you listen to this episode, I am so happy that we got to cover so many things this year. And we got a lot of crossover episodes in, and hopefully 2024 is even more amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
I love that message. Yes. So
Thank you.
with that, I guess we can close. And thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode a little bit out of our usual agenda and scope of covering K-pop, but still within the K-pop realm. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the MIA2K podcast. We have lots of great content coming up ahead, so please don't forget to follow and subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you enjoyed our episodes, please rate us 5 stars.
And for the real-time tea, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook by searching for @MIA2K Podcast. Dale. Bye.